are many different ways we can graph linear equations, and one of those ways is by using intercepts. So let's talk about intercepts. When we talk about intercepts, what we mean is where our graph crosses the x-axis and crosses the y-axis. So if we look at this blue line right here, the blue line represents all the solutions to a linear equation. Notice it crosses the x-axis right here, and it crosses the y-axis right here. Now let's kind of analyze those points. This is the point 2, 0. The point up here is the point 0, 8. Now what I want us to focus on is these zeros right here. When a line crosses an x-axis, its y value is always going to be 0, because remember, our y coordinate tells us how much we have gone, in the vertical direction, either up or down. And if we don't move up or down at all, that's 0. The same thing's true right here. Where our line crosses the y-axis, our x value is always going to be 0, because we don't move left or right at all. The x coordinate tells us our left and right movement. And if we don't move left or right at all because we're on the y-axis, that's always going to be 0. And so what we're going to be able to do to graph using intercepts is we're going to be able to use this idea of at the y-intercept, our x is 0, and at the x-intercept, our y is 0, to kind of figure out where those points would be. Let's look at an example. This is find the x and y intercepts of the graph 4x plus 3y equals 12. So what we're going to want to do is create I usually create a table to help us figure this out. I'm just going to make a big table here. And I'm going to say, okay, if I think of the solutions to this linear equation, their coordinate or ordered pairs, if I put a 0 in here for x, so if I put a 0 in for x, that's going to be my y-intercept. This value here will tell me where we're hitting the y-axis. So I am going to substitute 0 in for x. So over here I'm going to go 4 times 0 plus 3y equals 12. Let's see what happens. 4 times 0 is 0, so we're just left with 3y equals 12. Divide both sides by 3. I get y equals 4. That means our y-intercept is 4. It's going to hit the y-axis at 0, 4. Now, to figure out what our x-intercept is, where it crosses the x-axis, our y value is 0. So let's substitute a 0 now in for y. So I'm going to go 4 times x plus 3 times 0, because we're substituting 0 in for y. And then I'll just solve for x. 4x, 3 times 0 is 0, so that cancels out, equals 12. Divide both sides by 4, and we get a solution of x equals 3. That means our graph will hit the x-axis at 3. This is the point 3, 0. So these 2 points here are our intercepts. So again, to find x and y intercepts, and later on we'll use these to graph, but to just find the intercepts, we put in 0 for x to find the y-intercept, 0 for y to find the x-intercept. In this situation, we put 0 for x, solve for y. Our y-intercept is 4, so it crosses the y-axis at the point 0, 4. Then when we put 0 in for y, we get x equals 3. So that means it crosses the x-axis at 3, 0.